Well, hoping you guys are having a good Wednesday. You're in the middle of the week for a lot of folks. Just a downhill slide into the next weekend. Today I'd like to talk to you going all the way back to the book of Genesis. And I'm going to start in chapter 19. This is kind of important. This is a message for Christians. And there came two angels to Sodom at evening, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, Behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and you shall rise up early and go on your ways. And they said, Nay, but we will abide in the street all night. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned into him, and entered into his house. And he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. And before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. And they called up unto Lot, and said unto them, Where are the men which came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. These are angels of the Lord, and no doubt they were stunningly beautiful, with the holiness of the angels that have not fallen into sin and that behold the face of God. They came to Sodom because Sodom's sin had rose up as a great stench in the nostrils of God. Lot was a man of God who gradually made his way into Sodom. First he went into the same valley, then he pitched his tents nearer to Sodom, and finally he was in Sodom. Lot is an example of what can happen to us as a Christian. We allow sin into our life and we let it go, and it draws us further and further away from God until we're into the very cesspool of sin that was Sodom. And of course these men wanted to do unspeakable things with these angels because they were perverted in a way that is pretty commonly known among us today. And Lot went out the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have 2 daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. Lot offered his virgin daughters to these men to abuse in whichever way that they had an inclination. And they said, Stand back. And they said again, This one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. Those who are practicing wickedness have very little tolerance for those who disagree with their ways. Nowadays, they term it a phobia, and it's considered to be hate speech. It's kind of hard to understand how people define words to twist them to mean something like that. But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut the door. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, most small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. The angels, of course, did not need Lot's protection, quite the contrary. To stop this crowd of evil men, they blinded them. Permanently? Could be. Could be. The Bible doesn't say. These men didn't have much longer to live anyway. And the men said unto Lot, Hast thou here any besides son-in-law, and thy sons and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city? Bring them out of this place, for we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxen great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord hath sent us to destroy them. And Lot went out and spake to his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, Up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. They didn't believe him. If you speak out against the great sins in our nation today, people will make fun of you and not believe you. And while they lingered, the men laid hold on his hands. Oh, I'm sorry, I jumped. And when the morning rose, the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of this city. And while he lingered, the men laid hold on his hands, and upon the hands of his wife, upon the hands of his daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him, and they brought them forth and set him without the city. He had to literally be dragged out of that town. He had so wounded his conscience. He had so wandered so far from the Lord that he had a great desire to stay there, even though he knew that destruction was coming. That's enough for right now on this. I just want to, the rest of the story, of course, is that Lot and his daughters and his wife went out of the city. They were commanded not to look back toward the city. His wife, whose apparently her heart was in Sodom, she loved the place. Maybe that's how Lot got there. I don't know. Eve caused her husband to sin. Husbands cause their wives to sin. I know that in the past I have laid out of church. And my wife, I had her lay out of church with me. And that was wrong. But one person can lead another into sin. But anyway, Lot's wife turned around to look. And the Bible says she was turned into a pillar of salt. What happened? Don't know. God destroyed Sodom, blasted it so deep. It's the lowest spot on earth now. And he did that as a warning to us. But the whole point of this is, like Lot, we have to be careful. If we inch towards the sin thinking we can control it, we're going to find out very quickly that it's controlling us. It's leading us away from the Lord. Lot was saved from that city, but he lost everything he had. His accumulated wealth was gone. He had to live in a cave with his 2 daughters. If you're a Christian and you are playing with sin, you are playing with a rattlesnake, my friend, and it's going to bite you. Take it from somebody who has been bitten. In any case, I hope you're having a good Wednesday, and I will see you tomorrow. God bless you.